Hey everyone, Nathan from Method Music Productions here. This is a tutorial for Musixon, which is a great online community and resource for music producers, audio engineers, and musicians. So I'm going to talk about how we like to mic up a single guitar amp and cab using two separate microphones and then blending them together. So there's a couple key things to pay attention to in doing this. The first thing being mic placement on the guitar cab. This can greatly affect the tone of your sound. And then the next thing is making sure the two microphones are in phase with each other. This is really important, and it has to do with the distance from the speakers to the diaphragms of each microphone, making sure they're lined up. And I'll explain more about that in a little bit here. So our setup is fairly basic. What we're doing is we're isolating the guitar amp from the guitar cabinet. So we have the guitar amp located in the control room with us, and we maintain control over the way the amp sounds. And our speaker cab is in our tracking room, and all the sound of the guitar amp is isolated in that room so we don't get any bleed in this room. So all that we hear is the sound of the guitar coming through the microphones through our studio monitors. Now, the microphones that we're using a Shure SM57 and a Sennheiser 421. These are pretty standard guitar amp mics. They just sound really good for the frequency ranges of the guitar, and they sound really good when they're blended together. For our mic placement, we like to put the mics as close to the grill of the speaker cab as possible without touching, and then point the center of the microphones to the edge of the dust caps of the speakers. We find this is just a pretty good sweet spot for tone. The closer to the center of the speaker that you get, the brighter the sound will be, and the closer to the edge of the speaker you get, the darker the sound will be. Now, a little tip to finding the right mic placement is to dim all the lights in the room and take a flashlight and shine the light into the speaker through the grill, and you'll be able to see all the areas of the speaker, and then you can point your microphone exactly where you want it. So the DAW that I'm using here is Pro Tools HD, and I have created a few different tracks. So I have two aux tracks here. These are these two red ones. And I have the inputs of each of the aux tracks set to each mic. So I have the SM57 coming in this track on channel 1, and the 421 coming on the second track on channel 2. Now they're both being sent out bus 1, so that they come into this audio track under bus 1. This way, when I record onto this audio track, it's taking the sum of both of those microphones and tracking at the same time onto one track. So for this session, I'm using a Schecter Tempest guitar, running it through a Mesa Maverick amp on the lead channel for a distorted tone. Now in Pro Tools here, you'll see again my aux tracks, and each one of those is each microphone out there. I'll solo one at a time so you can hear what they sound like. So first starting with the SM57 here. That's what that guy sounds like. Now I'll do the 421. So overall, different sounding mics, but blending them together, the tones of the different mics definitely complement each other quite well. So the only thing to pay attention to when you're summing tracks together like this is to make sure you don't clip the track that you're sending everything to. So in this instance, I have my aux tracks that are taking each mic. You'll see that they're peaking around minus 10 dB. When they're summed together, they're peaking the audio track just under minus 6. So you got to make sure that when they're summed, you don't want to clip that audio track. So the final thing to watch for before you start tracking is to make sure your microphones are in phase with each other. So the easiest way to check for this is to flip one of your microphones out of phase and listen to what it sounds like. So these are my microphones in phase. Now flipping one out. That's what out of phase sounds like. Back in phase. Out of phase. So you can hear a noticeable drop in volume and a definite tone change. So my mics are pretty much right in phase because of the fact that they end up canceling each other out when one waveform is reversed. Another way to check the phase on your microphones is to track each one individually and then look at the waveforms in your DAW. If the peaks are lining up exactly, that means that your mics are in phase. If the peaks are just off a little bit, that's out of phase, and the way to fix that is to adjust the microphone distance. To get the peaks to line up exactly, the microphones have to be the same distance away from your source. So in this case, both mics have to be the exact same distance away from the speaker to ensure that they're going to be in phase. Hopefully you guys found some of this information useful and you can use it to get some good guitar tones. For more awesome video tutorials, check out the Musixon website, go to their Facebook page, and subscribe to their YouTube channel. If you want to check out some of our work, head over to methodmusic.ca. Thanks for watching.